PPE videos in a nutshell. Sorry if I might have fooled you, but this is a commentary. Let's talk about the PPE thing. So like you maybe have noticed, PPEs are getting stale. I conclude that from research on my own and just asking people around, you know? And using my sophisticated sources and connections, I made a Reddit post. And with that, annihilation and destruction towards, well, what I do. So as you can see on this post I made, the question isn't exactly how do you feel about PPEs, but about the edits. And you see, when you are a newcomer to my channel, you might be surprised at first, because most of the PPEs I've put out recently weren't that amazing. As in not amazing, I mean they are not perfect. My reason for uploading them is because I enjoy editing and experimenting with it. So if you're one that came for the PPE and not the edits, well, you're not gonna have a pleasant time. What I tend to see is that people think it's cringy when you overhype mediocre drops and stuff. That is mostly due to the amazing white backdrop not matching up with the clips. You might end up with an amazing white backdrop, 5 clips in front of the drop, and sometimes it just doesn't fit, which is why I like to drop my amazing white backs on the silent parts, so it's easier to see how amazing and lucky the PPE got. But what is the main part of this is how overhyped the music is, and when editing, I just edit what's suiting to the music. I've already mentioned this, but the PPE is sort of secondary. The primary thing you watch the video for is the edit, and if you don't enjoy the edit, well, you're not gonna stick for long. But enough about editing. Although it is essential for a PPE to be mildly entertaining, at least for me, it doesn't have to be too much. But let's just ignore the editing part and focus on the core PPE underneath. The general comment I see on this is that PPEs are boring and repetitive. It's the same protocol you follow. You farm the same dungeons, you go to the lost halls and get all the white bags and farm different dungeons and events, and it's all the same. The general public seems to enjoy a little edge on the usual content. Not the PPEs, but maybe an NPE or UTE or an EGE. Wait, okay, that didn't work for you. And it's true. I see that, okay, you get tired of the same, well, farming principle, they get white bags, they get lucky, and that's what people come for. But in essence, isn't that what RotMG is all about? You start a character, you get loot, you max it, you get more loot, and it dies. That's the circle of life, a RotMG life. And don't get me wrong, I see a lot of positive comments about PPEs, because a lot of people still enjoy watching them, because they like to see people getting insanely lucky, sparking a hope that maybe you would get that lucky someday, or perhaps motivate you to play more. And that's the great thing about PPEs, and I know that the creator of the PPE, or so it's told, Neutral Man, he wants to kill the baby he made himself. And I can't blame him. There's a ridiculous amount of PPEs out there on YouTube, being uploaded as I speak. And no, I will not join that parade. And you might think, okay, is he gonna stop making edits? And of course not, it's sort of my trademark on this channel. So from now on, I will lower the amount of PPE videos released, at least by me. But in doing so, I am not filtering out the good ones. I'm actually only taking in the good ones. Meaning that instead of people coming for only the edit, because the PPE underneath is sort of irrelevant, you can also watch a very lucky PPE underneath. At least if you can see what is happening on screen, which depends on the class edit I will do. Remember, this is just my personal opinion on what I will do. I see a lot of people doing different stuff with the PPE genre, and well, I think it's okay. I think that at least some of the flavor I add to the video makes it sort of different from the average PPE video, which is why I proudly can say I made that video and I spent a lot of time on that video. And that's the second reason. I spent a lot of time on these edits, and they don't get nearly as many views as my commentaries. And you might think, oh, he's just salty, he doesn't get views, he doesn't get money. But, well, you see, time is valuable. There's nothing I'd want to do less than to rush out a video with lower quality. I can't do that to my subscribers, myself, or my channel. And most of the time, I feel like I'm going in with 100%, and I get about 15% back. And doing that over and over again is demotivating, to be fair. One would say that PPEs get the most views, but I'm not sure on that. And I think that's what a lot of people think when they want to start on RotMG YouTube. They have to make PPEs because that's the quickest way to get started in the community. I mean, hell, that's how I got known in the first place. I do recognize that PPEs are a good starting point for RotMG YouTube channel. You could even say that you should move away from that topic since you did that in the past, which you've grown from. But I don't think so. I think that it was a blessing that I got famous on the PPEs. Or famous, it's relative for a small community. Because I'm blessed enough to get to edit videos while enjoying it, and showcasing it to my subscribers while they're enjoying it. But everything to a certain extent. Which is why, as I explained earlier, I am heightening the requirements for the PPEs I'm being sent. What this means is that on this channel, you will only see edits on PPEs that are close to perfect, or not even PPEs. As of now, I still have some PPEs in store, and they are still going to be released. Some are even close to perfect, and I will be sure to mention that in the title, of course. The class of edit I will do on the PPEs will depend on the songs I choose, so on that point, I will not let myself be influenced on any other front except for the music. So to end this off, I want your opinion on how the PPE genre is doing on the YouTube platform. Should it stay? Should it go? I hope I didn't talk too much about myself and my own channel, but in this situation I'm sitting in, it is very relevant to me. So let me say this to all of you not subscribed already. If you want to stick, I would love to have you on board. You will need good eyesight. I cannot promise you that you will have good eyesight afterwards. Sadly, that's not included in my insurance policy, which is mentioned on my Patreon, which exists. It might be unrealistic to think that I could quit my job to do this instead, but just the thought makes my feet tickle. I'm unsure if I addressed everything that needs to be undressed. Wait, what? So if you have something to add, just leave it in the comments again. Okay, it's going to be the RotMG comment section point 2. Or this video will get no views. Let's see how it turns out.